Welcome. My name is Mary, and we are so glad that you're joining us online today. We will be back in person next Sunday. We hope that you had a wonderful Christmas, and as we look ahead to the new year, we are so excited to both look back at what God has done, and we are equally excited to see what God is going to do. If you're new to Eastwind, we'd love it if you jump over to eastwind.life and click on the I'm New Here button, and one of our staff will reach out to you next week. We've got a great service today. It's going to be about 50 minutes long, and as we jump in, we are going to take time to sing together as we prepare and align our hearts with God's heart.
There's a holy expectation for what you're about to do, and full of awe and adoration. We wait for you, we wait for you. There's a people on the altar, what we offer you will use. Would you breathe on this surrender? We're here for you, we're here for you. Come now, Spirit of God, stir in our hearts, light up revival. Holy Spirit, come have your way. Rain down a heavenly flame here in this place. Unleash your power. Holy Spirit, come have your way. Let this be a generation set apart for more of you. That we be known for who we worship. We live for you, we live for you, we live for you, we live for you. Come now, Spirit of God, stir in our hearts, light up revival. Holy Spirit, come have your way. Rain down a heavenly flame here in this place. Unleash your power. Holy Spirit, come have your way. Holy Spirit, come have your way. I don't wanna miss what you're doing, where you're moving, where you're leading. Only God, you have all of my attention. I don't wanna miss when you're speaking, who you're reaching, who you're healing. Only God, you have all of my attention. I don't wanna miss what you're doing, where you're moving, where you're leading. Only God, you have all of my attention. I don't wanna miss when you're speaking, who you're reaching, who you're healing. Only God, you have all of my attention. Only God, you have all of my attention. Come now, Spirit of God, stir in our hearts, light up revival. Oh, Spirit, come have your way. And rain down come have your way. Rain down the heavenly flame here in this space. Unleash your power. Oh, Spirit, come have your way. Oh, Spirit, come have your way.
There's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence, I've tasted and seen of the sweetest of loves, where my heart becomes free and my shame is undone. Your presence, Lord. Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Come flood this place and fill the atmosphere. Your glory, God, is what our hearts long for. To be overcome by your presence, Lord. Your presence, there's nothing worth more that will ever come close. Nothing can compare. You're our living hope. Your presence, Lord. I've tasted and seen of the sweetest
Before we jump into today's message, we have a couple of opportunities coming up that can help you connect with one another and deepen your faith. Our winter life group session kicks off in just a couple of weeks. Life groups are groups of 10 to 14 adults who meet on a weekly basis to connect with one another, care for one another, and grow in their faith and relationships. If you're interested and would like more information, go to eastwind.life and click on the life group image, and Leif will be in touch. We believe that baptisms are an outward expression of an inner change that happens when you start to follow Jesus. If you've given your heart to Jesus and have yet to be baptized, we would love to take that next step with you on your journey. Simply go to eastwind.life and click on baptisms for more information. And now let's join Carlos for the message.
Well, thank you for joining us. We're just 3 days away from the end of 2024. And so being as cliche as possible, I'd like to talk with you over the next few moments about New Year's resolutions, about how to bring this year to an end and how to begin 2025 with a sense of purpose. Now, not all of us are New Year's resolutions people. Some of you, like, this is the time of year where you hit reset. You're so excited. You've been stacking days, and now it's time to do something new, and you cannot wait for the turn of the year. Others of you, you're a bit cynical. Your only New Year's resolution is to judge those who do New Year's resolutions. This because I want to break us down into two groups of people, dreamers and realists. Now, before I kind of talk about these two groups, I just want to ask you, based on those two words, would you say you're more of a dreamer or more of a realist? We'd love for you to take a minute, talk about that with whoever you're sharing bacon and a cup of hot coffee with right now, and we will be back in just a moment. I imagine we're a mixed group right now. We got some dreamers and we have some realists. Now, the dreamer says, this is my year. You set goals, you close deals, you drop pounds, you add muscle, you increase your mile time, you scale up, you grow your net worth. This is my year. This is going to be a phenomenal year. The dreamer takes life in both hands and runs with it. And the realist goes, ugh, are you kidding me? You said that last year. All you do is talk about how you're going to compound your interest and you're going to make magic happen. Now, these are two warring sides within each of us, and they do create an interesting dynamic. As we come into the new year, maybe we would summarize that dynamic this way. Dreamers, you have a word you use. The word that you love to say is, wow, this is going to be amazing. Now, realists, on the other side, you also have a word. You'd probably like to sit next to the dreamer and go, oh, okay, I got you, wow. But how? So dreamers and realists, we look at the new year differently. And this isn't right or wrong. It's just how we're wired. And so the goal of our next few minutes together is to introduce a question that, regardless of if you're a dreamer or a realist, allows you to look out at this new year with a frame of mind that might just be what we all need. Now, this question has become hopefully routine for us around our Eastwind community. I love to ask it around this time of year because it has the potential to dramatically shape the year ahead. If you can figure out how to hold on to this question and its answer, I believe you'll see something powerful happen in your life. So the question I want to suggest really begins or takes shape around one key idea. It's a key that makes both dreamers and realists kind of come together and go, okay, but what about possibility? As long as we have possibility on the table, then we can dream. We can look at the year and we can say, what if this year could be different? Now, I want to say, realists, be careful that you don't transition from being a realist who asks how to a pessimist. And dreamers, be careful you don't transition from being a dreamer who believes in what can happen to wishful thinking. And that's where possibility comes in. To the realist in you, possibility helps you avoid cynicism. And to the dreamer in you, possibility drives you to take action. Here's how we do this. If you believe in the power of possibility, it fuels the potential for a better future. It fuels the potential for then a better year, which really fuels the potential for a better you or me. Now, if we look at most breakthroughs in business, culture, or organizations, you trace it all back, there was always a group of people who actually thought it was possible. It fueled their potential, and they thought it could be true. But that means the opposite's also true. And I'd love to say it this way. If you don't think it's possible, you will live your life as if that's true. And if you do think it's possible, you will live your life as if that's true. Now, this is what brings both dreamers and realists together. And so I want to challenge you to view your next year through this lens of possibility. Now, one of the most iconic examples of that, and it's what make your Christmas travel possible and some of the great adventures we have in this life, it's Wilbur and Orville Wright. You know, you think about the two that kind of brought to us what we see today as modern flying. They had a huge impact on our life, both directly and indirectly. Bicycle shop owners, bird watchers, who one day looked at each other and said, hey, if birds can fly, why not us? Well, if you've flown in a plane, you can trace it back to these two. Listen from historian David McCullough how these two embraced this dream of possibility they had. He says this: in no way did any of their lack of experience, lack of financing, or lack of education discourage or deter Wilbur and Orville Wright, any more than the fact that they had no technical training and they had never worked with anyone other than themselves. No friends in high places, no financial backers, no government subsidies, a little money of their own, or the entire real possibility that on some point they could be killed on this venture. Well, the Wright brothers were working against Samuel Langley, who was given $70,000 by the U.S. government to work on a flying invention, and yet they beat him to it, and they came in with a power of possibility at only $1,000. So you look at the two of these and you go, how does one succeed and the other not? Well, Samuel Langley, it was a side project. It was just something that he had the education, the experience for, and they thought he'd be good at it. The Wright brothers, it was a passion to see something change that ended up bringing about change for all of us. Now, it's kind of a cliche story whenever it comes to change, right? So how do we apply it? Well, let's think about our work environment, club, a team, some group that we're part of. Let's just imagine you go into the new year. You get this group together and you want to own a room in the land of possibility and just like lease space in the land of reality. So we're going to live in possibility while we visit reality, where we're really at. It brings dreamers and realists. It puts us together in the same room. So here's the question. This is the gold, but this actually isn't the big question, but it's the foundation of it. What do you think is possible for you this year? Honestly, I'd just love for you to ask that question. What do you think is possible for you this year? Don't get caught up on resolutions or past failures. Just pause and go, hey, here's for me. Like, I'm a 49-year-old guy heading into 2025. What's possible for me this year? And the thing is, the answer to that question, whatever you think is possible, I think you're correct. And whatever you don't think is possible, you're correct. This is going to be true in marriage, relationships, your singleness, business, if you're an entrepreneur, your competitive life, your emotional life, your spiritual life, your community life, your school life. It's a great question, but it's not the best question. And honestly, we're gathering today online as Eastwind Community Church, and you might be there going, I'm not sure I was ready to sit in my pajamas and hear a motivational talk about the Wright brothers, possibility, realists, and dreamers. That is not why I'm here right now. I want to talk to you about the bigger and the better question. It's the life-changing question. And the reason it's so life-changing, it's not the content, because it's basically the same as the one I just shared. Whatever or what do you think is possible? The reason it's life-changing is because of who is involved in the question. Now, it's a question that can shape the year ahead for you individually, in your community, certainly for Eastwind Community Church collectively as we head into 2025. And the question's this. Take a breath with me. What does God think is possible in 2025? Let me rewind that and say it again. What does God think is possible for you in 2025? What I'm saying is that the creator of the universe thinks that there's something that can happen in your life. Now, you might be watching this and saying, wait a second. Does this apply to me? I'm not really a follower of Jesus. I'm spiritually curious. I don't necessarily believe in God. And so first I want to say, if you're with us in person or right now online, we're so thrilled that you are here. And what an attribute to put yourself in a space where you're exposed to conversation about God, you, purpose, life, community. And maybe you've been told you're supposed to believe in God. And so I just want to say what you're going to hear next as we wrap up this time together. And it feels so pithy and, Hallmark-like. It's that God believes in you. And I'm going to defend this or kind of make this case. God thinks there are things that are possible in your life, things that you may not even think are possible. So if there is a God and he says, there are things that are possible in my life, and these are good things for me, for my neighbors, for my friends, these are good things for my enemies. Well, that's a God I want to get to know. All right, so what does God think is possible for you, for me? It's a great list. Listen to these: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Now, this is not a nice list. It sure rolls off the tongue like, it's just a nice, soft list. This is a power list. Think about these words. Every positive change in our life, the things we long for in our relationships, in our sense of self, in our work life, in our school life, every positive change we long for comes from here. The end game is this change of heart where we embody these things. Let's think about this. Like money is an area of such stress and scarcity and uncertainty, and the future can drive all of us. And yet the gift of peace can meet us right at our place of insecurity around money. Or let's say you're carrying right now uncertainty around health or ongoing chronic pain. Maybe you're at a place where your life is adjusting to new things, or you're carrying the difficulty of loss and the heartbreak of loss. Well, patience can meet us in that place and say, can I get through this moment I'm in? Can I get through this day? Let's say that you find your passions and your addictions and your appetites controlling your life in a way that you know is not who you want to be and how you want to live in 2025. God has a gift for you: self-control. Maybe there's just a bit too much. You're too quick to come to a place of anger. And you say, I'm not going to do that again. And you find yourself there right away. And now it's kind of like trigger, response. It just happens. And the anger is at the surface. And the people you love the most are asking you, can you find a way to not meet us with anger? And God thinks gentleness and kindness are possible. It's very easy today to be full of judgment. People who don't think like us, people who vote differently than us, people who live in different neighborhoods and operate different ways, different ideologies, or just people who have crossed us in the wrong way, and to hold judgment over those people. Imagine what goodness can do for your heart when it's so conflicted and caught up in judgment. I could go down a list, talk about worry and anxiety, the peace that can come from that, the depression that can batter us, so many of us. And even when we're not alone, we can be in community and yet still fighting that deep place of depression. And we go, God has for us in that space love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. This is a staggering list of possibility for dreamers and for realists. Now, this list comes from the New Testament, a letter written to a church in Galatia. So a small town had this new group of followers of Jesus trying to figure out what it means to be with Jesus, be like Jesus, and do as he would do. And Paul, the author of this letter, listen to what he says to them. He says, Galatians chapter 5, verses 22 to 23, says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And then listen to how he wraps it. He says, and against such things there is no law. Essentially, he's going, there is nothing that has the power to push these things out of the way for what God has for us in our lives. So the reason God thinks that these are possible is because they're the fruit of the Spirit. It's a gift from him. What Jesus believes about you and me is that in a relationship with him, our lives can move towards these fruits, moves towards these possibilities and these realities. So we're not going to grow in our religion, but we're going to move toward a growing relationship with Jesus that produces, through the power of the Spirit, these unlikely 9 realities in our lives. As we abide and stay connected to Jesus, something powerful happens. As we do this, what Jesus will do in us, it's something out of this world. It's the fruit he produces. Let me say it for you one more time. I want to be as redundant as possible. What God thinks is possible for you in 2025 is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Now, the thing is, the people in our lives, please hear this, the people in our lives, they want this from us because they're on the other side of it when it's not there. Most of us don't know what it's like to be on the other side of me. So as we go into this year, into 2025 and the days ahead, let's think about the people we love. Let's start there. Do they want to see more or less of these fruits in our lives? And I want to invite you practically, consider selecting one of these and focus on one for the entire year. So focus on love, focus on self-control. Ask your roommates or the people you live with. If you're going home for a break, ask your parents, hey, what should this be like? Talk to your kids, talk to your coworkers or your employees and just say, what would it look like if I had more of this in my life? I want to grow and I can't do it apart from Jesus. And so I'm going to ask God to show me what's possible in my life. So here's our process, right? Ask a close friend. Maybe ask a couple. Give them permission to be honest. Ask your spouse and partner. Do it in a place where you have time to talk. This conversation might hurt a little bit. Ask a roommate, a parent. Look, I'm a parent of 4 kids. Ask your kids and just sit there and listen. Don't defend. Just say, what would it look like? If you're in a community, like a life group community, or a small group, ask your life group, go around the room, say, look, we spend time together. Which one of these 9 do you think I can be asking God to bring about in my life? What's possible? Most importantly, ask God, sit with him and say, God, what's possible? What do you have in store for me? And then see where the consensus lands and then set out to do it. So it's quite straightforward. Choose one. Then we hope you'll come back next week and you'll join us. We're back in person. And in that place, you can just start to work out living into this one in community and through service. And as we inspire each other to follow Jesus and deepen our faith and relationship with him. We want to be accountable in this journey. Thank you for joining us a few days before the new year, being part of Eastwind Online. We love you and we miss you. We can't wait to see you next week. Well, that's it. Thank you for joining us for Eastwind Online. If you joined us Christmas Eve and that was your first time with us, and then next week we're not there at 4750 South Surprise Way, thanks for dialing in today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. If you're new with us, we have a welcome dessert on January 16th. You can always find information at eastwind.life. We'd love to say hello. We'd love to have you join me. Actually, right here in this room. We're in my living room right now. Join us right here for some desserts and a chance to connect with our team and some other folks. So we're going to end with a tradition we do every week when we get ready to walk out into our life after our Sunday morning gatherings. It's a blessing we say. I love to say it over you if you haven't heard it. You can say it with me from the comfort of your living room or wherever you're listening from right now. So friends, may you jump into the arms of Jesus. May he push you out into the world. And may you be healed as you participate in the healing of others. Not because you must, but because you may. This is why we were born.